Who's more of a Randle today?
Maybe you're more of a Randle today. Right, enough silliness. Welcome to the weekly live stream presentation of questions and answers regarding all aspects of carnivory, the eating of a carnivore diet, health and fitness generally. We'll do our best to answer most questions, and you know the drill. Put a large capital Q, a colon, then type your question in full. Don't use TLAs or PITAFFS. Spell it out. Use English. Use good sentence construction. Suffix the whole thing with a question mark, and that'll make things much easier for everybody. And we'll get through this, and we'll survive it. Maybe. Anyway, welcome to the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia, where we have our first two visitors with us for the next few weeks, and they are named Private Ryan and Private Ryan. They are Ryan's privates. Or are they Privates Ryan?
I don't know.
They're Privates Ryan. They're not Ryan's privates. Anyway, they're here. They're doing things. It's good. If you'd like to come and be part of the Royal Pimbatian Defence Force, then you should send an email to the address wending its way across the bottom of the screen as we speak. And we'll organise that for you so long as Ted deems you to be an adequate person to visit Pimbatia. What else was going on? Also, hardcore carnivore stem enhance is available for order. The real stuff. Actual product. It's not a pre-order anymore. It's a reality if you live in New Zealand and Australia. And we are the test market. So we have to sell it to make sure that everybody else in the world gets a crack at it. So no pressure, but order it in large amounts. IBOs, you can put them in bulk packs. Everybody else, you can put them in auto ships, which are now not being called auto ships anymore. Now they're going to be called subscribe and save. Which is what you do, basically. You subscribe and you save 18 to 20%. That is if you want to be a customer purchasing your cereal products, which is fine with us. We love customers, absolutely. However, if you want to get your product for free and or earn some money as well, you probably want to be an IBO. Send us an email about that as well. Right, that's promotions. You know the drill. Ask the questions. We'll answer them. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to see Privates Ryan or Ryan's Privates on the next live stream, or the one after that, perhaps, we're yet to convince them that they want to do it. You just need to make lots of comments about, Private Ryan, how can you be saved if you don't show up for the live stream and stuff?
Indeed.
Yes. If you do want to meet Privates Ryan and Ryan, you can look at my Instagram, where there's several short videos of them telling us all about their day. So, yes.
Excellent.
Right.
And did you say how to post questions?
Yes. Large capital Q, colon, write the whole question out in full, use good English, don't use TLAs.
Oh, yeah.
Suffix it with a question mark.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jonathan says, hey, welcome to the longest serving carnivore live Q&A.
Are we?
Here go.
Awesome.
I don't
know if we are,
Jonathan
but
says so.
that must be right. He doesn't say things that aren't right,
Indeed.
does he?
And Dolly finally made it.
Hello, Dolly.
Good on you, Dolly. She also has a question or two.
Is that naughty Dolly?
Probably.
Dolly did it.
So, question,
Yes.
appendicitis. Is it something we should not get on carnivore, or is it just a bad luck? Like my surgeon said, second year carnivore and got it. My recovery was quick thanks to cereal plus carnivore.
Yes. Appendicitis can happen to anybody at any time. It is a inflammatory autoimmune dysfunction largely that occurs because of some ineffable thing going wrong in that largely vestigial organ of the veriform appendix. It seems less likely that a carnivore eating person will get appendicitis, but it's still not impossible, as you are living proof of if what you're implying is that you had it. Yes, it is, because my recovery. Good. Yeah, it is bad luck, really. Nonetheless, she got better. She was turned into a newt.
She has the next question too.
Oh, there you go. Charge a double for double questions.
Yes. I'm curious about it. I thought it is something that, it was kind of a follow-up on it. something that depends on your diet, but I might be wrong. Also, eggs are out for me now. Get a pain after eating them. Is it inflammation issue post-surgery?
It may well be an allergic issue if you're reacting badly to eggs, in which case you'd probably react badly to dairy as well for some reason that we don't really know, but they seem to go hand in hand. Look, diet is just one of many facets, many degrees of freedom that can lead to or help prevent various things occurring. But diet by itself, while it's great, is not the be-all and end-all. I promote 5 health hacks that people should do on a daily basis in order to minimize their inflammatory overburden and thus apparently minimize their likelihood, for want of a better term, of having a adverse health outcome of any kind. 5, of which diet is just one of those 5. Yes, 5. Good. 3, sir. Oh, yes, 3. No, there are 5. And you'll find them on a video on my channel called 5 Health Hacks You Need to Know About. It's a good video. Like it a lot. It's one of my more popular ones. Perhaps. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the stats for a while.
Okay, then.
Right. What's the next question?
Are advanced glycation end products of any concern in any animal-based foods besides honey?
Well, not really. Because end glycation products generally occur after you consume a significant amount of glycating stuff. Galactose can do it. It is a potentiality, but galactose is far less glycating than something like glucose, and glucose is less glycating than something like fructose. So yes, it's possible, but it's low on the list of likelihoods.
Okay. Can you explain the bone broth thing with the potential heavy metal issue? Meaning, if I put some bones in a pot of water for 12 to 18 hours and salt, is it that really toxic?
It really depends on the bones, the provenance of those bones, what those animals were fed and ate during their lives, where in the world you are, etc. But there is a thought floating around out there that there may well be heavy metal toxicity issues in the bones of various animals in various places, and boiling them up for 12 to 18 hours tends to leach that out. So it could potentially be an issue.
Where's Ted?
Ted is his usual spot. He's face down on the desk. Wake up, Ted. You're supposed to be twiddling the knobs, aren't you, Ted? Yes.
Oh.
Here's Ted. Here's Ted. Here's Ted. Here's Ted. Here's Ted. No singing. Ted, you go down there and twiddle the knobs like you're supposed to. Good boy.
We've got a super chat here.
Yay,
Thank you, Juliet.
We love Juliet.
Hello, my 2 favorites, fuckers. Hello, Juliet.
You're our favorite
I
fucker.
tried to not be here today, but Private Ryan didn't want to do it.
Poor old privates, Ryan, or Ryan's privates. They just walked past the window.
Did he?
Well, the tall one did.
Then probably the less tall one.
The less tall one is probably in tow as well, Private's Ryan.
Okay, so I'm going to give someone priority here because it's funny.
Okay, fair enough.
Anthony Green says, Quection!
Yeah, good.
So you get your Quection read quicker because you said Quection.
Right.
I had a burger and fries yesterday, despite knowing the dangers. Could you help scare me out of eating fat and carbs together? Science, fear, appreciation, anything that could work. Thanks.
Well, first of all, if you do that, you can expect a late night visit from Ted, who'll be facing the right way when he does arrive. And he will bring his bucket of soapy frogs and that wetsuit with the bottom cut out. Ted will be displeased. Also, so will Sir Philip Randle. Well, he would if he was alive. His cycle will probably be upset. Well, the reaction, the physiological reaction that we are referring to parsimoniously as the effects of the Randle cycle, really. Eating fat and carbs together tends to, what happens basically, to boil it down to its lowest common denominator, is fat tends to compete with sugar and sugar tends to compete with fat for entry to mitochondrial pathways. Ergo, you actually get a cross inhibition. Ergo, you get pro-inflammatory situations and you get weight gain, and it's just a bad scene altogether, really. When you think about natural foods, they are high in protein and fat, or in the plant kingdom, they are high-ish in protein and carbs. There are very few natural foods.
They keep walking back and forth.
What are you doing, Privates Ryan? Yeah, so there are very few natural foods that are high in both carbs and fat. One obvious example of one that is milk. And that's designed precisely to activate the Randle cycle so that the baby adds a lot of fat quickly, so that they have this substrate to use when they're going to have a growth spurt.
So we'll see if Private Ryan is going to be fat when he leaves.
Because Private Ryan has been drinking a lot of raw
milk.
Goat's milk, as has Private Ryan, to be fair.
Yeah.
Both Privates Ryan.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
And none of them are fat.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. And young people eat a lot of meat, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Young people, we're going to have to get more meat out of the freezer.
So I would like to answer this question as well.
Go on.
Something that I'll just cover it briefly, but something that I do with my clients is often the focus is so much on the food. Like, I need to have a burger because it's really fucking nice. Like, what is the bigger reason for why you don't want to do it? Everything you do that is not in line with being healthy is doing some kind of damage to you. So if it's important for you to do something that will make you feel better, live longer, whatever it is that is actually motivating you, bring that into your conscious mind and focus on that instead of focusing on the food. Because the more you think about the food, the more you're going to want to eat the food. So focus on the things that are actually important to you. That's the short version.
Good. Like it.
Alrighty then. Now we can go back to the normal order unless we got... Nope. No more super chats. Okay. There's also lots of discussions about being slave in Pimbatia. Yes. Slavery with the illusion of freedom.
Yes. No, the Privates Ryan are here of their own accord. They are free to come and go. Well, with certain caveats, of course, for safety. They chose to come here and to be here with Ted and Professor Fluffy and Professor Snoozy and us and the cows and sheeps and goats and ducks and chickens. And they're having a ball, I think. It seems like they're having a ball.
Let's hope so. That's the point.
Yeah.
Don't come here if you're going to think it's horrible.
Yes. Sure, they're doing some work, but that's awesome. They're enjoying that, it seems. Ferreting away out there.
Don't know what they're doing right now.
No.
Maybe they're collecting plums.
Maybe. Collecting plums to feed to the birds and goats and stuff.
Right, next one. Could you please go into more detail on what a proper transition to carnivore over 6 to 8 weeks look like? It is simply weaning off the same carbs you've always been eating, or is there more to it?
Well, look, at the end of the day, I think anyone with a modicum of sense and intelligence can work this out for themselves. Basically, it's exactly what you've just said. We are weaning somebody off their carbohydrate and plant intakes slowly and steadily over 6 to 8 weeks. So it will take planning. You will have to sit down and work out your menus and things for the first 6 to 8 weeks while you're transitioning, sure. So sorry about that. But that's basically what it is. And it's the idea is to get your carbs and plant materials out of your diet in as much of a straight line fashion as possible, and with the minimum number of large steps. So it seems. There you go.
God, is this a super chat?
Yes.
It looks different than the other super chat.
Anyway, thank you, FX Trader, for the $1, I presume, US.
Thank you very much.
That will feed Ted for a day. Ted appreciates you. Ted thanks you.
Okay.
But nästa min
I don't know. Gabriel keeps saying question how.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what it
Stop,
means.
Stop with that.
Yeah.
Maybe write the rest of the sentence as well before pressing enter. Yeah.
Okay. Your opinion on insulin resistance tests?
There is no such thing. They do not exist. What happens is that the insulin and the blood glucose are assessed for a period of time after a given food challenge, usually. And then those numbers, the things that are actually measured, insulin and blood glucose, those things are put into a calculator. And this composite measure called insulin resistance, a construct, an idea, some gauge on that is spit out of that. Nonsense. It's not science. Science measures things directly.
Okay, then.
Yes.
So, where can I buy your outfit? I got a wedding coming up.
This stuff comes from Rothko in the US. I don't think they're still making the yellow-coloured one, but they do make many other fine pretend military uniforms in all sorts of different colours. The rest of it, the rank insignia and the general staff doings up on the collar here and that, I got those from a UK military surplus supplier.
Okay.
Those Pimbatia, or the K crest things, I had those made by a company in China that does that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. What can I do about calcification on my joints?
Many things. I would start with 5 health hacks that you need to know about in that video called 5 health hacks you need to know about.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Does oil pulling remove cavities?
No, not directly. What it does do, though, is it tends to be antiseptic. It tends to clean the area up quite a bit. It drags out toxins and things, and it makes it easier for the body to repair those cavities. I would suggest that one of the things that definitely helps with the repair of cavities, having repaired several myself, is health hack number 2 in the list of 5 health hacks you need to know about. Happens to be Cerule products. Here's the flagship product. It's called Stem Enhance Ultra. Also available now, as I said earlier, in Australia and New Zealand. You can get hardcore carnivore Stem Enhance. The differences being, instead of a cellulose capsule, it's bovine gel. And instead of an inert rice starch flow agent, it's silica. Furthermore, there is no fucoidin, which isn't a plant anyway, but it's just not there because of a supply issue in this batch. In the next batch, it'll probably go back in. But at the end of the day, hardcore carnivore Stem Enhance contains nothing that comes from a plant. Isn't that great?
Very, very
It's
great.
awesome. And it's awesome that Cerule take us seriously enough as a community to offer us this opportunity to prove ourselves in the Australian and New Zealand marketplace, so that they can then see that it's worth doing internationally.
Is it natural to accumulate more body fat during winter? Maybe the body detects less sunlight and decides to store more for the season.
Normally, the fat gain is in the autumn, or otherwise known as fall, rather than the winter itself per se, because the fat storage, the natural fat storage, is designed around subserving your needs during the winter months when naturally there'd be less naturally occurring food around. Unfortunately, we've got food 24/7, 365 available most parts of the world, don't we? We just need to go down the shop.
And Dolly says that she does all the 5 health hacks.
Excellent. Well done, Dolly.
Good on you. Maybe that helps your recovery as well, that you actually do all 5.
Yeah.
How many carbs are in that mug of coffee?
This one? None at all. It's empty. See?
Good. Maybe 1 previously from the milk.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many carbs there are in the small amount of raw goat's milk that I put in a coffee. Not many.
No. Is kefir and yogurt okay on a carnivore diet?
Yes.
Will the higher omega-6 content in cheap pork be a problem long term? Will it increase my overall systemic inflammation? I only eat cheap pork.
Possibly, but it's not very likely. I think that's one of those 1%er things. You really ought to be basing your diet on beef, lamb, that kind of stuff, rather than
Yeah,
pork.
I was going to say, how often do you eat it?
How often do you eat pork? Inga kommentare.
My stool seems to be frequently bloody. I notice this when I wipe. There is a red smoke on the paper. It's only a small amount. I wonder if it's a problem.
Okay, if it's bright red blood and if it follows the stool, as in you've finished passing stool and there's a bit of blood at the end of that after the stool, which is bright red, that is almost certainly hemorrhoids, which is very, very common. 1 in 3 adults over about 30 get that. There are treatments available for that. It's very straightforward. If the blood is mixed in with your stool and is dark brown or black or any of that kind of stuff, or there are large chunks of tissue in it, then you need to go and see a doctor post haste.
Yes. Is there a particular collagen supplement brand that you would recommend for those of us who may need it?
Well, I'm joint ventured with the Cerule company that has one at the moment. Unfortunately, the one that the Cerule company has contains a couple of ingredients that make it very difficult for me to promote it, despite the fact that anecdotally, both for myself and for everyone I know who is using it, despite these couple of ingredients that perhaps shouldn't be in there, I think, it is a fantastic product. It's called Collagen Active. When we prove ourselves with the hardcore carnivore stem enhance, we will also get hardcore Active, hardcore plasma flow, and we will get collagen, I would expect, in future, without those few ingredients that are perhaps not optimal in the current formulation. If you are of a mind where you won't be consuming a product that contains those kind of ingredients, fair enough. What I would look for in that case is type 1 and type 3 marine collagen peptides, which is what the Cerule product contains, among other things. How's that? Was that politic enough?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Because you weren't listening. Right.
I'm reading.
Reading ahead. Fair enough.
Because we have a super chat.
Super chat. We like super chat.
Yes. Thank you, Swallow. Is there site I can find on the web where that breaks down the ratios of carbs to protein and other components of the various grains, wheat, soy, etc.? Thanks as always.
Yes, of course. There are many, many sort of nutrient tracking type apps and things that claim to be able to give you that information. Do a search. Ask Dr. Google.
Yeah, I'm blanking on them now for some reason.
I just don't even like them. I don't use them. That's why I don't even mention them. But chronometer, for example.
Oh.
You broke it. Don't break it. We'll be sad.
It's broken.
Oh. What's next?
This is next. Do you think the role that parasites play in carb cravings is overstated, understated, or just plain rubbish? Some folks claim all of our carb cravings are just parasites using us as sock puppets.
Okay, so that last position stance is ridiculous and goes too far. Some of the earlier parasites can have an effect is accurate and correct. It's somewhere in there. Yeah.
It will definitely affect you, but it's usually not the whole reason for most people.
Right. You are metabolically programmed to crave carbs and to enjoy carbs and to get a dopamine hit from carbs.
If you have never craved carbs and all of a sudden you start craving them, yeah, then maybe that's the reason. But for most people, that's not it.
Yeah.
So this is not a super chat, but something else. Gifted one Professor Bart K main channel membership.
Excellent. So that's somebody that's buying a membership for somebody else and gifting it to them.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Gotcha. I see how it works. Very nice, but doesn't actually say, can you not leave a comment when you do that?
No.
Okay.
No, it's an auto-generated.
Right. So I
this
didn't
is
need
happening.
to get that up. Anyway,
Well,
cool.
it's good. It's good to know that people can do that and to, say thank you very much for that.
Yes, thank you very much. Makatak.
Makatak, tak, tak, makatak, tak, 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 tak.
Sound like the ducks.
What's next?
Ducks. They do when they're excited, and then when you walk away. Okay. I like to eat nose to tail. Now I have a peculiar question. Would it be problematic to eat the behind or tail of a cow, for instance, due to bacteria?
I wouldn't do it personally. Although
tail?
oxtail,
I mean, when it's processed, there is not supposed to be any bacteria. If you're going to eat it raw directly off the cow, I wouldn't recommend it. And definitely not for the cow.
yeah. I mean, are you seriously sending us a question? Should I eat an animal's ass out?
Well,
Is that really what you're doing? Come on, champ.
I think we have a super chat.
Yeah. Why would you eat nose to tail, by the way?
don't.
How was the last nose you ate? Was it tasty? How about the last asshole? Was that tasty?
Maybe he likes assholes.
Maybe.
Okay.
Goodness gracious. We get all sorts around here, don't we?
So, does it mean carbs and fat in the same meal or on the same day?
Well, carbs and fats can interact with each other and cross-inhibit each other's entry to the mitochondrial pathways as long as they are present. Now, when you eat fat and carbohydrates, they will both stick around in your blood for quite some time. Suggest 72 hours or so for carbs, for example.
Also depends on the amount you eat, obviously.
Absolutely.
If you eat 10 grams of carbs in the evening, you're not going to have any of those 10 grams left, probably.
So long as that's all the carbs you have.
Yeah. Do you think the New Zealand government or Horseface will try to shut down your farm due to some regulation or licenses?
Well, Horseface is now completely irrelevant. Horseface doesn't even live in this country anymore, and Horseface is no longer a part of the government or the party that was in government at the time that Horseface was doing its thing. Horseface is a relic of the past, who still needs to hang from the neck until dead, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. What the government will do in future, who knows? Who knows? We shall resist.
Where is she living now?
America, I believe.
Poor Americans.
I know.
What's she doing there? Saving her ass.
Well, hiding from New Zealanders who would instigate said hanging from the neck, I would suggest, many of them.
Okay, then.
And doing some plum job for the government, even though the government is now the opposition party to the party that she was the leader of at that time.
Good.
No, it's not good. It should not be happening.
Okay. Hi guys, I just watched your How Cereal Products Are Made. I found it very interesting. Did you go out on the lake to see the harvesting? Any video? Cheers.
There is an existing video around harvesting of AFA on Upper Klamath Lake. We did not go out on the lake to see harvesting because they did not harvest last season at all. However, that's an interesting video about how harvesting is done. We did get out on the lake for a kind of cruise, which was nice. Several of our IBO members got to have a swim in the lake as well, which was interesting for them.
Was it warm?
I'm told it was.
Okay. All good then.
Yeah.
Swim in the rules.
Swim in the rules, yes. Apparently it's like supposed to have magical qualities to swim in that lake. Yeah, all good.
So now they're all witches.
Yes.
Does glycogen weigh differently depending on the substrate? It's said that carbs retain water in muscles, but glycogen can also be replenished without carbs. So...
Okay, Daniel, I think that there's some logical threads there that are completely missing from your comprehension. Glycogen is a molecule which is made of glucose times N, however many there are in that particular glucose molecule. So it weighs more or less depending on how many glucoses there are there. The fact that glucose starch, glycogen, is stored with water is beside the point, but it does absolutely affect the weight of it, yes. And no, glycogen cannot be replenished without carbs. It can be replenished without exogenous dietary carbs, because your body will make carbs from which the glycogen can be replenished. But the ingredient for the glycogen replenishment, either way, is still glucose. How's that? Good.
think that was a good answer.
Lovely.
I've been online for 4 months. I've used BPC 157 for about a month and still have no improvement to my flaky, itchy red skin on my face, plus acne and dandruff. How long to see an improvement?
How long's a piece of string, and it might not ever happen? How many of the 5 health hacks do you need to know about are you undertaking? You've told us about one of the hacks there.
Yes, I'm now using Cerule as well. So 2.
2. Well, when you say using Cerule, are you on Stem Enhance Ultra or Hardcore if you're in Australia and New Zealand, if that's what you want to do? Are you on Active? Are you on Plasma Flow? Because those are the 3 that you need together synergistically. Are you grounding electrically? Are you blocking blue light from your eyes after dark? And are you undertaking the exercise as suggested, prescribed, if you like, on my 5 health hacks? I make no warranties about what anybody can expect long-term if they do not undertake all 5. If you do 4 of them, all bets are off. If you do 3 of them, it's unlikely that you'll actually get the result that you want, I think.
Skin problems seem to be one of the most stubborn things to correct with diet, in my experience from working with people that have skin problems of any kind.
Yeah.
Seem to be hanging on forever. Just make sure that you do get the right fats, and if you've been eating a lot of vegetable oils in the past, it takes a long time before you get them out of your cells and such. The half-life is 7-9 years or something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah. So it will take you at least 7 years to get rid of half of them, which is a long time. So
It is.
yeah, you have to have patience. Just wanted to read this comment.
Yes.
Robert says, I remember I ate fries at some fast food place after not eating them for a year or so. I felt horrible afterwards. That was my clue to never touch them again. Just, that's another thing that I do with my clients. We, once they're off, usually it's sugar, but whatever it is, I have them eat it on purpose to reprogram the brain and get their subconscious to understand that this is not what I want to do, pretty much. It's a desensitization process, basically. And it's pretty good when you have been off for a while and you eat something and you feel terrible, because you will make the connection. And the next time you feel like, yeah, I want some fries, you probably don't want them. But first you need to get off them in the first place. It's like step 1.
Yeah.
Right. Please forgive me if already answered. Are you consuming plenty of raw milk?
Oh, yes. Plenty of goat's milk. Raw goat's milk, yes.
As a carnivore, do I still need to use toilet paper when I have to go to number 2?
Well, that's only for you to know, isn't it? For goodness sake.
What can I do for psoriasis other than being carnivore?
Well, 5 health hacks that you need to know about, as already outlined, and as you can study at your leisure on the video on my channel of that name.
And I think eating a lot of healthy fats as well is probably a good thing.
Plus, there's another hack that's already been mentioned by a commenter a few comments ago that isn't on the list of 5 but can be very helpful, and that is the experimental peptide BPC 157. Bravo Poly Charlie, that is. It stands for Body Protective Compound. Number 157. It's a dangerous experimental peptide that's only for experimental use and not for human consumption. So dangerous you can buy it on Amazon.
Do the polymerized oils on seasoned iron pans present a health issue?
Well, not apparently.
Not sure about that.
Who knows, but not apparently, because if there was a serious problem with that, then everybody that was cooking meat on a pan would be dropping dead like flies, wouldn't they? They're not, so it's apparently not a problem.
Well, it could still be.
It might be a
toxic
problem,
and
but
build
it's
up.
very unlikely to be a problem that we're aware of.
Are regular supermarket eggs and ground beef okay for consumption? I can't afford otherwise. Also, what is your opinion on drinking coffee every day on a carnivore diet? Thank you.
Yes, they are. In general, the difference between supermarket meat and better meat with better provenance is really actually not huge. It's one of those 1% of things, I think. For choice, if you can have the better stuff and it's available to you and you can afford it, go for it. Otherwise, The main thing is that you eat an appropriate diet in terms of its makeup, i.e. you don't eat plants, basically, as much as it is at all possible. Coffee is very much an individual choice. It's a recreational drug. There is no required intake of coffee. There is no recommended intake of coffee amount that a person needs or should have. It's a recreational drug. It's a toxin. It's an alkaloid. It's also a stimulant, which may or may not cause problems depending on how much of it you're taking. It can be a problem for blood pressure as well. I was drinking 12 cups of coffee a day for a couple of years at one point when I was in a fairly highly activated, fairly stressed state all the time. And yeah, it was really bad for my blood pressure, like 30 points on both ends. When I dropped out the coffee, but didn't actually do anything about the stress or anything, just dropped the coffee out. 30 points, or 30 millimeters of mercury on both ends of my blood pressure. Just, that's my anecdote. Others will have other stories. Good.
If my wife and I conceive a child while in the cereal harvesting lake, will our child grow up to be Superman or no?
Oh, absolutely, certainly, for sure, according to who you listen to. One of the stories around it is that the lake has female energy, and the mountain around the biggest mountain by the lake has the male energy, and there's a perfect vortex of energy lines or something on the planet at that point, and yeah, all sorts of stuff. I suspect not. I think it's just a lake with a mountain beside it that has some stuff growing in it that contains a useful product that we can harvest, clean up, activate, and make it do its thing. Well, not we, them, the company that does that.
I'm just going to pick random questions here.
Why not?
Before I go back to where we were.
Yes.
I can't be bothered to scroll. Do you ever miss a grey mouth or want to go back there? Nope. Not at all. Right, I'm going to scroll back now.
We bought in Greymouth because that's all we could afford at the time. And we needed to get on the property ladder somehow. We actually never really thought we would go and live there. We thought we would use it as a rental property and rent somewhere else where we wanted to live, near Nelson. And that would be the program for a few years, and then we'd sell it for a profit or whatever and get something better. And that's exactly what happened, pretty much.
Although someone talked me into trying to move there for a bit until I had enough.
Which we
and
did.
I said, this is not going to work. I'm moving. You can come with or not. I'm not fucking staying here.
Bye.
You didn't want to stay here there, apparently.
Hey, Dorfito. Stick around.
Not want to do that. Is it wise to consume fluoride pills to strengthen teeth?
No, it isn't.
No, it is not.
Unequivocally, in my mind, absolutely not something you should do.
Do you think people will ever stop attending these Q&As that only seek out confirmation bias? Is X okay on Carnivore? How about growing a pair and use your brain?
Sure.
No,
comment?
People will probably not stop asking those kind of questions.
No.
I don't think.
Yes.
We've been dealing with them forever.
6 years.
And they're still coming up.
Yeah.
Is there anything to suggest a person may feel more hungry in winter? Thanks, you both.
A person may feel more hungry for all sorts of reasons at all sorts of different times. Some of it's seasonal, some of it's activity based, some of it's what you've been eating, some of it's hormonal. Yes, you might be more hungry in the winter. You might not too.
Okay. Can endurance and strength occur together in the same muscle adaptation, or are they incompatible? Does hybrid training make sense for improving muscle oxygen efficiency?
Right. That is a question with no real short answer. I have made a number of videos on that topic already under a playlist called Exercise Physiology, which is one of the specialities that I was teaching when I was in academia over a 20-year period a bit back. Depends what you mean by endurance, what kind of endurance, what kind of mode of activity we're talking about, and what the exact physiological and physical adaptations to the muscle fibers are under those circumstances, as to whether or not we have antagonistic training or complementary training going on. as a large sweeping generalization, generally all fitness is specific, and that means mode of action, relative force production, and duration of event. Sure, there is some crossover, but at a certain point, at a certain level of training, these antagonistic training things will start to cut into each other and cause problems. Does hybrid training make sense for improving muscle oxygen efficiency? No. To improve your muscle oxygen efficiency, you should train that specifically, if that is your goal for some reason. I'll tell you what though, I have never heard of any gold medal ever being given out to the person with the highest VO2 max. Generally, they're given to the person who finishes the race first, or the event with the most number of points, or whatever it is. Not your oxygen uptake capacity.
Right. Have the speed up reset the Randle cycle once triggered, just for the exceptional instances of when we eat carbs. Sorry for the earlier how, I was multitasking. Thanks.
Right. Well, fast and exercise. That'll speed it up. That'll drain everything through and unlock the doors.
Yep.
Yep.
Are you seriously suggesting cereal can make you never age, or did I misunderstand what you meant?
I have never said anything remotely similar to that. What I have said is that when adult stem cells differentiate into new adult cell lines around your body, the adult cell lines thus differentiated from the stem cells have full-length telomeres, meaning those cells are biological age 0 and have a full number of cell divisions in front of them. We're not allowed to say fountain of youth because that's a therapeutic claim.
No, the problem is that we cannot replace all the cells to be at age 0, so you will still age. It's not going to happen.
However, I'm 107 years old.
That makes me 102.
I'm not really 107, but I'll tell you what, I'm more than halfway.
Halfway to 107?
No, I'm just about halfway to 106. There you go. But a lot of people think I'm younger than that. Partly because of the way I appear and partly because of the way I behave, perhaps.
I can second that one. Private Ryans are elephanting on bullets. Kia ora from sunny Puhoi. On Carnivore, is there a need for boron? And if so, how do I get it in?
Kia ora e ho Katie Pihia Kwe. No, in general. Pretty much a relatively sensibly put together carnivore diet does not lack in anything that you need nutritionally in terms of the macro or micronutrients. There is no reason for concern at all in that regard.
We have a super chat here somewhere. Thank you very much for the super chat and no question.
No question or comments.
Thank you anyways.
Yes, that will keep the lights on for a few minutes.
Yes, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the trend of non-diabetic people obtaining metformin and taking it for anti-aging purposes?
Well, they are misinformed. They are misguided by someone to do that. It is not a good idea. It is absolutely contraindicated. They should not be doing any such thing. Very, very foolish indeed.
Okay. 4 months on beef, eggs, pork, fat, and I still have stool problems. Once per week and hard to pass. Ate around 700 grams of meat and 150 to 200 grams of pork fat per day. I'm 167 centimeters tall. Any suggestions?
Yes, you might try, if you genuinely are stopped up, you might try a bit of magnesium salt, like Epsom salt. You might try increasing the fat.
Did you say increasing?
Yes. 150 to 200 grams of pork. Not very much.
Pork fat?
Oh, 700 grams of meat. Yeah, okay, right.
I think that should be enough fat for a person.
Well, it should for any given person, but obviously all comments of that nature are aimed at the middle of the bell-shaped curve. and phobia might be at one end.
Maybe. I've had a couple of people that I work with that have had the same problem, and the only thing that actually helps is magnesium. They take magnesium citrate or something like that.
You might also try BPC157, the kind of so-called miracle peptide for gut function. Just a 1 month course of around about somewhere between 500 and 800 micrograms per day in tablet form, which you can get from Amazon or whatever. That could be something that you might try. That's not advice, by the way. That's just, hey, it exists. If you're not on the full gambit of Cereal products, I'd get yourself on them sooner than yesterday. I'm not allowed to make any therapeutic claims, but I would still be doing that, absolutely. Read between the lines. And if you're not doing the other health hacks as well, so if you're not doing all 5 is what I'm suggesting, then do all 5. And anyone that's reading this and going, oh, how did that happen? It happened probably, I would guess, because phobia probably failed to do a full transition to carnivore. Many people just decide to go carnivore and hammer over and go, I'm going carnivore tomorrow. And many online influencers are telling them that's fine and they should do that. No, disagree entirely. Most of my clinical practice is dealing with people who have problems because they hammered over and didn't do a transition, and it fucked up their guts.
Yeah. The thing with magnesium is that it can help you train your intestines to actually start moving again, because it could just be a case of lazy colon, I think they call it. So you just take it until you can go, and then if you take it every day, you just try over time to reduce the dose until you don't need it anymore, because magnesium is not going to do you any harm. Right, we have a super chat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hey man, glad to see you. What is a good basic fasting regime? I try 2 till midday and a 24-hour water fast fortnight.
Okay. In my lexicon, my operational definitions of fasting begins at 72 hours without food. Anything shorter than that is not fasting. It's just not eating at that time. The benefits of fasting are up to full speed and maximized at around about the 72 hours no food mark. That's why I define them as such. And it's quite normal physiologically and anthropologically, I suppose, for humans to not eat every day, let alone multiple times a day, which is just silly for the most part. So it doesn't sound like you're actually really doing fasting per se. You're doing time limited eating most of the time, and you're doing a 1 day not eating every couple of weeks. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve, what the reason for the fasting, so-called the fasting is. Send me an email or something, cuz my email address is on the About tab if you don't already have it. On the About tab on my channel front page, that is. It's also going across the screen right now at the bottom. There's my email. There. Just disappearing. Bye.
Bye. Guys, don't ask the same question several times. I'll get to them, but we have
Or not.
25 queued up now. Yeah, if it's a really stupid question, I read it before. I won't read it aloud.
There
So
are no stupid
asking it
questions.
again won't help.
Yeah.
There is... Actually... And when we already answered a question, don't ask the same fucking question, even if it's a different person. I know that some people might hop in halfway, but still. I might not read it then.
So get fucked in.
Get fucked in. 4 months on... Okay, we just
There we go.
read that.
See, don't read the same question twice.
No,
Let's get fucked
I
in.
didn't unstar it. There you go. All I eat is... Haven't we have this one?
No? It's just a similar
All I
kind of
eat
question.
is cheap pork, eggs, and fish twice a week. Assume everything is the worst quality possible. Any possible problems with such a diet?
Look, it is impossible to say that it is not possible to have problems on any diet, obviously. Any carnivore diet is superior to any diet that's not. Period. How's
Okay.
that?
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
I remember you had a person invited who had a very interesting talk about parasites.
Yeah.
He claimed all of us have parasite on us, even in brains or something. Do you agree? What did you make of him?
I can't remember who you're talking about.
Well, you had a her.
There was a her I had on, not a him. And she did have parasites, absolutely, intestinal ones. I would suggest that everybody has some amount of eggs and or very juvenile parasites in their bodies at any given time. For the most part, however, they don't get a foothold and they don't get to grow to adulthood precisely because our immune systems take care of it until we become so dysfunctional that they don't. And then the parasites can take over and get precedence and all of that. And then they become a problem. And they can become a very intractable problem. How's that? Good.
Okay. Any reaction videos in the pipeline? Vegetable Police has gone back to vegan. Could be good for a lot.
There's always reaction videos in the pipeline at various times. At the moment, it's a matter of finding time to make videos because there's a lot going on here at Pimbatia Farm. We have our first couple of woofers here. Privates Ryan and Ryan. Ryan's privates, that is. And we have to look after them and make sure that they're safe and effective and safe. Don't question the effectiveness and safeness of Privates Ryan or their privates. So it's busy times. But yes, there'll be at least one video a week. I will make a commitment to make at least one. Plus, there's a number of interviews and things that are already pre-recorded that are still in my list of things to get up and get edited up a little bit and stuff. I'm aware that some of you are waiting and have been waiting for some time to see your video of your interview come up. It will at some point, but it may well be a lot longer than it usually would be on my channel. For which I make no apologies. I still have to do other things as well as be a YouTube influencer. It's the way it is. I'm doing my best, and if you want to make it easier for me, send me all your money.
But that make it easier.
It would, because that means I could pay people to do the stuff that I have to do around here.
Fair enough.
I could pay my editor more lavishly and have more editors than just one. Plus, I would feel less tired and stressed probably if I was just being lavished with money from all over the world. That would be awesome.
Yes.
So send me all your money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I shall send Ted.
To collect it.
He will come and collect. He will say, "Hello, funny man. Look how clever I have been. I have come here and finded you. Here is my bucket of soapy frogs. Now, give me all your money. Hey.
Okay.
And
Next
stuff.
one.
Yes. Good.
What kind of high-intensity training you recommend for someone with no access to a gym?
Well, I have many videos on that topic, and it's also something that we can consult about in the background. That's not a question I can answer quickly. It really depends on you, your needs, what it is you're trying to achieve and why, etc., etc. That's like an hour-long discussion privately in a consultancy session.
Bart K is an official quack pack leader now on his farm.
Sure. Thanks, Rick. We love us some Rick up in here, don't we?
In lactose-free milk, does lactase convert lactose into glucose beforehand in the container? Is this a problem, or would it be converted into glucose anyway by endogenous lactase in the intestine?
I have no knowledge whatever of the processes involved in producing lactose-free milk.
I don't think there's any lactase in lactose-free milk.
No, I think it's just, I think that they probably take it out.
I mean, you kill all enzymes when you
pasteurize,
it,
yes.
so unless they add it.
Maybe
which I
they add
don't
it
think.
before pasteurization to break down
I don't know.
the lactose, and then
I have no idea how
they
they do it.
pasteurize it. Don't know. As I say, no knowledge on the manufacturing processes around that at all. Oh! I'm getting a sore bum sitting here on this chair. Oh, come on, kid.
Andy says, I looked at the pack of a lactose-free milk and it had lactose. They only remove a small portion.
Okay, so
that
it's
doesn't
not
make
free.
any sense.
Not lactose free then, is it?
Not if that's true. Maybe that was a reduced lactose milk or something.
Maybe it's bollocks.
For sure. Taking apple cider vinegar with water first thing in the morning for a while, is that good? And what about taking collagen supplements?
Okay, for the first part on the apple cider vinegar, why are you doing that? And whether it's good or not depends on why you're doing it and whether it's solving the problem that you're doing it for. What about taking collagen supplements? We've covered that already earlier in the session, so just rewind afterwards and watch it through again.
Good.
Collagen is great. Even if you're not deficient in collagen, extra collagen can be very useful for a number of things. Collagen is the most prevalent protein in a human body. And as such, when you've got heaps of it on board, all sorts of magics can occur.
Magics,
yes.
Should I worry about the high omega-6 that may be present in non-pasture raised and non-organic eggs? The better ones are pretty expensive right now.
No, you shouldn't worry about that.
I like to use my sauna daily for 30 minutes. Is this contraindicated?
It depends on you, your circumstances, what's going on, why you're doing that. But for the middle of the bell-shaped curve, for most people under most circumstances, a 30-minute sauna each day is not going to be a problem.
No. Is donating plasma beneficial or harmful?
It depends on you, your circumstances, what's going on, what your health status is,
finish
etc.
the sentence? Will it lower ferritin levels and subsequently elevate testosterone?
It depends on you. It's the same answer.
Shall we just do that for all questions then?
All questions of that nature will get a similar kind of terse answer.
Let's do a super chat then.
Yay, we like those.
Here, all my money. Thanks, Mats.
Go. We have some Swedish Carnivore.
Yeah.
Tack så mycket.
If that was all your money, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah. So, we'll take it. Det är bra.
Tack så mycket.
Godkänt.
Dr. Berry says, cod liver once or twice a week. What say you?
There is no requirement to consume any liver of any kind under any circumstances ever. Again, looking at the middle of the bell-shaped curve.
All right. Should I worry about added nitrates in bacon?
Nope. Well, depends on how much bacon you eat. You shouldn't base your diet on bacon.
In theory, can stem cell help with fatty liver?
Yes, in theory.
Do ingested supplemented antioxidants work autonomously, or does the body control and decide when to use them?
Depends on which antioxidant you're talking about. Pretty much an antioxidant, which is an antioxidant just by its chemical nature, pretty much acts autonomously. However, the body can control how they're used in various ways. So that's one of those, there's no real answer to that. The question is too general.
Right, if I am carnivore more than 80%, should I worry about eating supermarket pork and chicken once or twice a week?
Nope.
Nope. In a recent chat, Sally Norton said that ketosis could be harmful for postmenopausal women, that homeostasis is maintained by drawing calcium from bones and proteins from skin. Is that true?
Ketosis in and of itself, if it's occurring naturally to the usual degree that ketosis does occur naturally in a species-appropriate, species-specific diet situation, then no, that's not going to be an issue.
Okay. Does training slow twitch fibers reduce fast twitch adaptations, or are they separate fibers that can be trained simultaneously?
Yes. Slow twitch training does tend to draw your fibers towards that morphological and biological set point. It does reduce the amount of fast twitch that you have, and vice versa.
Is there a way to confirm insulin resistance?
Insulin resistance is a construct. It's an idea. It's thought of by the allopathic medicinal community as a pathology, despite the fact that it is not a physiological response. It is not something that can be measured. There is no such thing as an insulin resistance meter. You have to measure blood glucose and blood insulin. usually after a particular food challenge over a period of time. Integrate the area under both curves. Put those numbers into a sum, which is a made-up idea, which then gives you a number for so-called insulin resistance. It's absolute fucking nonsense. Complete fucking nonsense.
Right, what fats are unhealthy?
Polyunsaturates are the least health-promoting, health-supporting fats that normally exist in any reasonable amount in foods, except that in meats they don't seem to be problematic. Probably it's a deuterium issue, we're not sure, but it seems like, well, it's at the right ratio with other fats. So they're less problematic. So like polyunsaturates from animal fat is less problematic, it seems, than plants. Go figure. Trans fats are horrific for inflammation and all the sequelae of inflammation. Trans fats are now illegal to be added to food substances. They do exist naturally, of course, in very, very small amounts in foods anyway, but there you go. Monounsaturates are in the middle, the ones that get the health heart tick. No, the most health promoting fats, it seems, are those of the saturated animal fats.
So in other words, don't eat vegetable oils, margarine, and things that contain them. Right. Could you please explain what happens when our belly rumbles when we are hungry?
That would be your stomach churning up and getting juices ready, mostly, I think.
Yeah, your intestines are moving around.
Yeah, everything's getting, we need some food, and it's a way of letting you know. Your body can't actually speak to you. It doesn't have a language. It can only communicate things conceptually by feelings and various muscle grumblings and all of that.
Yes, Master Chief Burgess says, for those interested, Janet started her chemotherapy for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma on Tuesday.
Okay, well, love to Janet.
We're waiting for the bone marrow biopsy results, but I think it's B-cell.
Okay, all right. Love to Janet, and we'll talk.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, and we'll talk later in the week, according to my calendar, which I'm just looking at now, Dave. And we'll see what's what and what, if anything, we can suggest. Yeah. And I can suggest that DC Learning to Live is a great resource too, if you want to talk to somebody else that's been through it, Dave, as well. DC's been stage 4 twice and still with us. So,
is there anyone in academia in the area of nutritional science that you actually respect and think is worth following?
Nope.
No, they can all get fact.
Nutritional science is an oxymoron. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's bought and paid for theology. Absolute nonsense from top to bottom.
Is the notion of small, dense LDL and oxidized LDL a nonsense? If so, why do people, even LDL skeptics, buy into it?
Yes, it is an absolute, complete nonsense. And they buy into it because people generally buy into things, don't they? People generally tend to hear somebody saying words, and if they themselves don't have the training and experience to critically analyze those words, and those words sound feasible to them, then they will happily repeat those words as if those words were facts. That's how it works. That's why just somebody who's bought and paid for could stand up enough times and confidently enough say safe and effective, effective and safe and effective. People will believe that shit. Because people are fucking stupid at large. And or lazy. Stupid and lazy. A lot of them are both. Right.
Hey, Do you know why salt, no matter which kind, makes my skin issues way worse? If I just do carne without salt, everything heals.
Nope, I don't know the answer for you particularly as to why that might be. There are all sorts of possibilities. We could sit here and guess all day. But
Or just don't do it.
Or just don't eat salt, because it seems like that's the answer for you.
Okay. What's up with bird flu? Don't know anything about it.
Not something we can talk about. It's not a topic that's allowable on YouTube.
Conspiracy theories.
Yep.
Jonas says we need raw honey for lipase to digest fats after years and years of wrong nutrition. Any truth to it?
Well, number one, Arjunas doesn't say anything because he's dead. Okay? He's been dead a long time, so he doesn't say anything at all. He used to say that, perhaps, and he's wrong. You do not need exogenous carbohydrates in your diet for any reason. Again, middle of the bell-shaped curve comment. That's the caveat.
Jonathan is stirring up trouble again. Why don't you immerse yourself in one intricate mechanistic field of study so you can be the world leader in that topic, then sell wares related to that? Kidding, you're not a damn sure.
Correct, that's why I don't do it.
I know people who eat raw carnivore and they have been eating huge amounts of raw liver for a long time without issues. Did you ever see a case of copper toxicity from raw liver?
Not personally. The potential is definitely there, and it's a difficult one to diagnose. And hey, look, if you think eating like pounds and pounds of raw liver is perfectly safe and effective, then you fill your boots, you do that. You do you. I won't be doing that. There is no need to eat liver. Any liver, ever. You absolutely can eat a small amount of liver, I think, without too much risk of a problem. Everybody has an individual toxicity limit, however, on anything, don't they? Too much of anything is toxic, including water and oxygen. That's the dose that makes the poison, and the level that's toxic for one person might not be for another.
Okay. My wife is dead set on feeding our 2-year-old twins berries, and I can't get it through to her the pesticides aspect. Any videos you made or recommend on the effects of pesticide consumption?
That's not something I've focused on or made a video about personally, but many others have done. Do a search for that.
Mm.
And I think pesticides is just one of many potential issues with feeding children berries or fruit or sugar or grains or starches or carbohydrates of any kind, or plant material, really. That's for another day.
Okay. After years of allergies and gut issues, I resolved them with lots of D3 plus other supplements. Starting carnivore 7 months ago, now better than ever. But still afraid to stop the subs. What's your opinion?
Try it and see what happens.
Indeed. Is a glass of orange juice in the morning indicated to replenish energy levels?
No, it's absolutely contraindicated for all purposes. You should not drink orange juice. You may well drink a glass of orange juice from time to time. Fine.
But not every fucking morning.
No, not every fucking morning. Correct.
What is an Egger regression? One Vagoon used it to prove that statins work through LDL lowering and not anti-inflammation.
No regression of any kind can prove any cause and effect relationship of any kind. Those are the facts on regression sums, basically. Egger is a particular form of regression which follows a particular mathematical format and a series of rules and assumptions, which I won't go into now. However, the rule of thumb remains. You cannot inform on causality using association. And regression is an associative, empirical procedure. It compares X with Y. It does not, however, explain Y as that relates to X in a causal manner. It just says this is associated with that. Very similar to ice cream sales are associated with sunburn or shark attacks. Or even worse, shark attacks are associated with ice cream sales because they're true statements. There is an association. That doesn't mean the cause of shark attacks is ice cream. Okay? The goons that come online and say, I can prove stuff with references, I can prove stuff with sources, are folks that do not understand what the sources are, what they say, what they can inform on, what they can't inform on, what the scientific rigor or validity of it is. Basically, the goons are indoctrinated puppets of a bought and paid for theological, well, let's call it the Church of Anorexia Vegana, because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're also buffheads.
Buffheads.
Harry's in the house. Good to see you, Harry.
I haven't seen Harry.
He's in a few comments.
Right. Do fat cells have memory? I lost 100 pounds but gained 10 pounds back fairly quickly. Cheating at Christmas with sugar carbs, maybe 3-4 days with.
Okay. When your fat cells undergo a period of hyperplasia, i.e. they split into 2 and 4 and 6 and 8 and 32, and you end up with more fat cells, when you lose weight, you don't lose the fat cells that you created. They tend to be maintained. They're just maintained in an empty state. You still have more fat cells than your average person. And so if you do transgress and go back on the carbs, those fat cells will much more quickly fill up. And you'll get fat again.
So, just interesting fact. When I was studying nutrition, they taught us that the only way to lose fat cells is to be breastfeeding. However, something that I read, which I don't know if it's true, is that dry fasting can actually get rid of fat cells.
Okay, interesting.
That used. Not sure how that will work, but there are many things I don't know that are kind of interesting. Just out of interest. Maybe someone else knows anything about it and can share more.
Fair enough. Good.
Should I go on an ayahuasca shrooms retreat to fix depression?
Well, again, that depends on you, your needs, your situation, your history, what's going on and what the cause of it may or may not be. There is some very interesting inference out there around there being some efficacy for many people undertaking such retreats, such things. So long as you're confident that it's not going to make things worse, there's probably no harm in giving it a go to see if it does. And we're talking about micro-dosing of shrooms, by the way, not filling your face up with them.
That's probably not what they do on a retreat.
No, most likely not.
But I've heard lots of people say that it has helped them, so...
Yep.
I struggle to finish my breakfast of 5 raw eggs despite it being recommended by multiple people. What shall I do?
You should, in terms of the eating of meats, eggs, dairy, associated fats, etc., you should follow your body's instinct. If you are hungry, eat food. If you are not wanting to eat food, you are not hungry. Eat later in the day.
I mean, if the only reason you want to eat the 5 raw eggs is because someone's told you that you should eat 5 raw eggs...
Well, then they're a fucking idiot, aren't they?
Then don't do it.
Yeah.
If there is... I don't even know what that would be, but if there is a valid reason that you need to eat 5 raw eggs in the morning, try do something with them. I mean, I put eggs in my egg coffee. Easy to drink. But could I drink 5 raw eggs? Probably not. Wouldn't level of adiposity be a factor as to what degree the Randle cycle is activated?
It can have an effect, yes.
Could also be other things affecting your adiposity. Inflammation and stuff. Started keto 420? Does that mean like...
Probably means eating 4 hours, not eating 20 hours.
Okay. Graduated to Carnivore 121.
So where's the other 2 hours then?
I'm not sure. Or is it January 21? I have no idea.
Belch it out, people.
Stop dairy per Professor K's advice 423. I'm 43-year-old. Pretty sure I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Blah. Advice, please, and thank you.
Okay, are you suggesting that I advised you personally and individually to stop dairy? I might have done if there was a good reason for that when we spoke, maybe if we did speak. But I've never made a generalized statement that people should not eat dairy in general. I've never said that. It sounds very much like your needs are to have a consultancy if you are not sure about where to go and what to do next. The address for consultancies is at the bottom of the screen on this fine video presentation. It's in the show notes. It's the one that goes bit.ly/Bart-KAY. You can organise consultancies from there.
Is it on the actual screen? I can't see it.
No, it's under the screen in the show notes.
Right.
Well, it will be after if it's not already there, it'll be there after the show.
Right. Are trans fats in animal foods not much of a big deal for one's health when compared to industrialized trans fats?
That is correct. Mostly because the level of trans fats which occur naturally in foods is so minuscule. Whereas trans fats in industrialized foods have been a major feature of them.
And some of the trans fats in animal foods actually seem to be beneficial rather than the opposite.
Yeah, it's a bit like lectins in that way. Some of them are good and some of them are not good. Yes.
Hi Pimbart, have you heard of any approaches, diet fasting, etc., that may be viable methods for removing spike proteins? Thanks, John from Brisbane.
Yes, there are some viable methodologies I've heard about which may be effective in that regard, including nattokinase, bromelain, the encouragement of the release of your own adult stem cells, anti-inflammatory products such as Cyactive, blood flow optimizers such as plasma flow, electrical grounding and earthing, exercise and the blockage of blue light after dark, as well as a carnivore diet. All helpful things, I think, in that regard.
I found Harry now.
Yes, Harry's been... You've been seen at the camouflage training, Harry.
Yes. He says, whoever asked the salt question, that is due to genetics. Some people like me are dumpers of sodium, others aren't as good and can bioaccumulate and get irritation in the skin.
There you go.
I get heart arrhythmias if I don't eat enough salt.
Right.
Good-o.
Very good.
Yes, I need salt too. Okay,
I like salt. I just trust my body's instinct on how much salt I need.
What's your opinion on glucose ketone index mentioned by Dr. Thomas Seyfried in the context of cancer treatment and metabolic health?
It is a marker which may or may not indicate the right makeup of diet to minimize the provision of fuel to cancerous cells. Let's not get too excited about it.
Hi guys, I don't want to make Bartholomew mad. Just wanted to know when he will reply to my email saying that I'm a new Patreon member and have signed up.
When I deal with my emails next, which will probably be tomorrow time. Sorry about that. I am very busy, but I will get back to you absolutely. If you're just looking for the address to book in for an appointment to speak to me, it's on the front page, on the post page of the Patreon system. Or you can just wait for me to respond to your email suggesting what it is. Tomorrow, probably.
Love you too.
We love you as well.
Thank you, Deborah.
Nothing you can do about it.
Indeed. So love bomb you.
Yes.
Can we talk poo? It's okay if your poo is black, almost like meconium?
Yeah.
Baby's poop. Cheers. Keep up the hard work.
Sounds like we should have a chat. Black poo is usually a sign of some issues. Let's talk about that in...
Or if you eat a lot of organs, maybe.
Let's talk about that in the background. Organise a consultancy and we'll talk it through.
The Bear, 50-year-long carnivore, claimed in one of his ZC posts that there are studies that say that dietary fat cannot be used by the body to make adipose tissue. Any truth in that?
No, there is not any truth in that whatsoever. That is completely
What the
false.
fuck?
That is rubbish.
Doesn't
That's
make
why
any
you
sense.
should take advice about metabolic pathways and nutrition from people who are trained in it. And the Bear is not. The Bear is a bloke that eats a certain way and has opinions.
I quit. Salt is a chemical.
Salt is rock.
2.
Salt is rock.
Anyhow, are synthesized vitamins equal to natural? If not, why?
Depends case by case on which vitamin you're talking about.
However, the uptake might be very different if it has all the cofactors that are present in real food versus being in supplement form, even if it's actually looking the same.
Yeah. There are 10 minutes left. If you want to get your questions in, super chat them so that they come to the top of the feed. Otherwise, get fucked in. Just so you know. 10 minutes, 10-minute warning.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding.
We have shit to do.
Yes, today is a busy day.
It is. I'm going to go and give a talk to a group of locals where we live, or close to where we live. And we're going to talk about the 5 health hacks. And it's part of their grand opening for their business that they're opening up out there. So looking forward to doing that. And then it'll be a nice barbecue afterwards. It's also good because that means we don't have to feed the privates Ryans or their privates today.
Yes, we have someone else feed them.
That's right.
And I'm hanging in the air.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Next one then.
Lovely.
We hear only bad things about saturated fats. What are the benefits from it?
Well, saturated fat is absolutely the primary source of energetic substrate for metabolic purpose that we have evolved on for something like 4.5 million years at least. There are no negative ramifications of consuming saturated fat in the appropriate amount. None at all. Everything you hear about saturated fat being bad for you is nonsense. Complete fucking nonsense. And not based in science, whatever.
Good on. Is debate between Ben Bickman and you considered in the future to help him understand the effect of the Randle cycle over glucose uptake by the cell and to stop calling insulin the dictator?
I doubt that Ben would be interested in doing that. I'd be happy to do so, personally. And while we're at it, there are several other things I would probably like to attempt to educate Dr. Bickman about. However, while being a scientist and one of some repute and being quite successful at being a scientist, he's also a theologian, which isn't necessarily a problem, except if you take the view that because you're a theologian, that is somehow proof that evidence that evolution is false and doesn't occur and isn't a thing, which is absolutely ludicrous. Evolution absolutely is a thing. It absolutely does occur. We can demonstrate it unequivocally. So if you want to stand up and publicly tell people that evolution doesn't exist because God, then you are an idiot. How do we know that evolution isn't God's plan, by the way? God's ineffable plan. It's just ridiculous theological nonsense. What's next?
Getting leg cramps at about 3 a.m., usually after exercise of walking. I hope that's after a day of doing that rather than doing it in the middle of the night.
Yes.
I do not raise a sweat, but could be because it is winter here and thing cold.
Thing cold.
I doubt I am mineral deficient.
Right, well, again, the first thing I would suggest is spray some magnesium on your legs before you go to bed and see if that ameliorates. If not, make an appointment to have a consult with me and we'll talk it through and dig deeper for the answer.
Okay, so here's something someone told me, and they were kind of completely stunned that it worked. That someone had told someone they knew at the hospital when she was giving birth and had, or maybe it was actually Kelly Hogan that had that problem, to eat a teaspoon of mustard to relieve the cramps, and it actually helped. So I would be interested if anyone want to try that and let us know if it actually works. I did Google it, and there was some compound in mustard that could help, apparently. Can't remember what it was, but whatever.
Cool.
Try that.
Lovely.
So have a jar of mustard beside your bed and eat a teaspoon.
Fuck it, whatever. If it works, don't knock it.
Yeah. I would love to know if it works for you. What is the difference between the Krebs and Randle cycle?
Well, the Krebs cycle is a cycle and the Randle cycle is not a cycle. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the Krebs cycle is the biological cycle by which ostensibly the whole role of the thing is to produce reducing equivalents carried by cofactors from that cycle to the electron transport chain in the mitochondria, And the Randle cycle is a loose description for a series of interrelated biochemical factors which cause cross inhibition of the entry of sugars and fats to the mitochondria. How's that?
Here someone says mustard works wonderfully for leg cramps.
There you go. Incredible.
Mustard is high in salt. No, I'm not sure about that. It's something else in the actual mustard.
Good.
Hi, what are your thoughts on the supplement berberine?
Plus minus, jury's out. It's largely, supposedly, its mode of action is mostly antioxidant. You don't need dietary antioxidants, in fact. Antioxidant activity comes from a suite of endogenous antioxidants that your body makes itself, and also via grounding electrically to the earth for as much of the time as is possible. The idea that antioxidants must come from your food is wrong. False.
How much do you cook your meat? Do you think raw has any benefits over cooked?
We have taken now, I have taken these days to eating my meat much less cooked than I did for many, many years. Is there any benefit to that? There is no demonstrated benefit whatsoever, no. It's a preference thing. Sure, the level of nutrients in the meat is slightly different between well-done meat and raw meat, absolutely. But it's not enough to actually make a physiological difference to a person's affect, it seems. I ate nothing but well-done meat for 7 or 8 years.
And finally, you're eating it the way it's supposed to be eaten.
So you say. Yeah. And who's to argue with Her Majesty Pym, Queen of Pirates?
You, apparently.
Mother of puppies, the first of a name, the unpoked.
Right. What's typical day of food at the farm for the guests?
Well, meat.
And milk.
And milk. Raw milk
Lots
and
of milk.
meat and a bit of cream cheese.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
That's all they had.
Oh, and eggs. Eggs.
Yeah, well, and bacon.
And bacon. Yes, they raided the bacon stores.
I don't think
Good.
they're actually eaten any eggs, but there are eggs.
Yes.
We had a big barbecue when they came here, so that's now been all eaten.
And we're going to have another one today. Hurrah!
But not here.
But not here. That's why we have to finish on time.
Oh, yeah, we had that one.
Stop putting the questions up twice, or else get fucked in.
Okay, bye. Yes, Bart suggested I stop dairy due to lifelong gut problems, and it helped a lot. My doctor is thinking I have POTS. Any advice for sufferers?
Oh, right. Okay. So, yes, I did give you that advice at some point because of a history which led me to believe that that might have been part of the problem. It seems I was right. That's good. In terms of the POTS thing, you'll probably need to make another appointment with me to talk about that. Individual sort of thoughts and reactions really are just that, and you need to dump up the fee for a consultancy for that, because otherwise we'll be sitting here all day answering one person's individual problem that, let's be honest, nobody else really wants to know about.
Everyone is speculating about mustard. Actually, when I googled it, does mustard help for leg cramps or something, whatever. It is an actual compound in mustard. It's not calcium, it's not potassium, it's not salt, it's some organic compound in the mustard.
Right.
But I don't know what that was. Just saying.
Right.
For everyone who says it's just salt. Or
Right.
rock.
Good.
Is the supplement Todca a tool worth considering to help people transitioning to carnivore if they have sluggish gallbladder in order to help them process the extra fat?
Not something I've looked at or studied, not something I use in my practice. Don't know. May or may not be, case by case.
I heard many people have good experiences with Todca, but I'm not sure about during the transition, if that's
Right.
the thing.
King Harry Louse of Tasmania says yes.
Yes, what?
Yes to that question.
I see. Which kind of salt do you recommend?
We use all sorts here. We have standard sodium chloride. We have...
We use
go on.
sea salt.
Yeah, mostly sea salt. Yeah.
How much grams meat do you eat a day?
Personally, it is pretty much gauged on appetite and it goes up and down according to that. But the general rule of thumb is 2 grams of protein per kilo of non-fat mass. And that's of protein. So you need to multiply that weight by 4 to get the weight of the raw meat. We're out of time.
Yeah. I eat a lot less than that.
So,
and that was actually the last question.
Well, good. So we're out of
Pretty
time right when that's the last question.
Yeah.
That being the case, the only thing remaining, of course, is for the official singing of the very, very sacred song of Pimbatia, the national anthem. And for anyone who's unsure at all about the words, they're pretty straightforward, and I think you can probably learn them if this is your first time hearing the national anthem. We do need you all standing and saluting, of course, while the national anthem is being performed by yours truly. And we will see you next week for the live stream, where maybe we'll convince Privates Ryan or their privates to be on.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe both of them can come together.
Maybe. That'd be funny. And then I'll be saying, Private Ryan, and they'll both be going, yes. Or one of them will say yes, and the other one will say,
now we're over time, so get it done.
All right, fine. Steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. They got it, Ted. Right.
Bye.
See you next time.